Hello, welcome back. Nigel with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and here we are now with part 3 of the build of this lovely Honda CBR1000RR-R Fireblade from Magic Factory, and in 1/9 scale. Beautiful kit. Have a look in the link down below in the description, and you can go and inquire about this kit from Tiger Hobbies, who are the importer. It will also be available when it comes into the country. It will also be available through other retailers as well. So you can choose your favourite retailer and go and get it from there. So we have the parts here for section 8. If you remember it in part 2, we finished off the exhaust and everything, added this vinyl tube, built up the rear suspension, and added the starter motor and everything to the engine. So part 3, we're going to start off by looking at the rear swinging arm, or half of it. And here we have all the parts, and here we have all the parts here separated. I've also got a piece of vinyl tube 60mm long and a screw. I've magnetised the screwdriver now, so that makes life a lot easier. So basically we take these two parts here. So here's our rear brake caliper. So we're going to fit the rear brake caliper together like so. Get the pins to align, just push that in. Obviously there'll be a gap where the brake disc is going to go. I can see there that I've missed a sprue gate, so we'll get that in a second. I want to squeeze this together but not break the pins, so it's you've got to sort of hold it rather than just squeeze it. There we go. So that's together, and I've just, as I say, I've just noticed there is a sprue gate there that I hadn't done. So there we are, silver Sharpie on there. That's that covered up. Okay, so now we've got to add the pipe union. So we've got a D-shaped hole, so the pipe will have a D-shaped pin. So I can see that the flat is there. Okay, so it's going to go that way round. I know this is difficult for you to see, guys, because it's all so tiny. There we go. Going in like that. So there's our pipe fitted. Now this caliper is going to go this way round into the swinging arm. So we've got a small pin that's going to go in there, and the larger pin is going to go in there. So that's that gone together, and that's all going to be held in place by the wheel. So what I'm going to do, we have to fit this vinyl tube. So I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to fit this vinyl tube onto here with it separate, because it's going to be a lot easier to do. So slide that over there. That's a lovely fit, and then we can push this one onto here, just like so. Okay, and then that's going to go. Yeah, I need to put I put a twist in it because I put it the wrong way round. There we go. So that's all fitted together like that now. Now what I basically need to do is untwist that pipe. So I need to take that pipe off of there again. Okay, we'll turn it round and then we'll refit the pipe with it in the right orientation. We'll push that back on there, just like so. And there we go. Right. That's better. Right, so that pipe's on there now. So you can see that's all done. And then finally for this section, we've got this inner mudguard thing to go in. So that's going to go, got that like that. That's going to be like that. So it's the long part up. And then this is going to go into those holes. So you've got 1, 2, 3 holes, 1, 2, 3 pins. So it's going to push into those holes and just snap in like that. There we go. There's a little mud guard there. It's protecting the rear suspension from all the stuff coming up from the rear tyre. And then finally we've got this little pivot for the rear suspension. I'm going to put this there. I'm going to put this like that, going to be quite difficult to do actually on camera for you to see. I'll try my best. I don't quite know how I'm going to hold this in place and screw it in. There we go, we'll do it like that. So, oh dear. Obviously the screwdriver is not very magnetic, but it's a little bit magnetic. Right. So we'll put that like that, put the screw through, and then push that in. Oh no. This is proving extremely difficult to do. There we go. We got it in the end. Okay, and that needs to be able to pivot. Okay, so there we are. So that is step 8 done. Alright, step 9, we're going to now look at doing the chain and the other side of the swinging arm. So basically we've got the chain here and it's telling us to cut it. We've got to cut it up here. In fact, it's already, you could just break it. It's such a small area. It's not like the rest of the chain is rigid, but here is like a little piece that you could just break away. And then this is going to go through here like so. The chain goes on the outside. I've pre-fitted this rather than fumble around with it on camera like I did just now. And then that is going to go onto there like so. Okay, so that's our chain fitted. Now that's quite a snug fit on there, but we're going to need to be able to rotate it to get the position of the front end correct. As you can see, you can move the front of the sprocket around, so we'll worry about that later on. And then we've got this chain guard piece here. This is actually the chain runner. So this is going to go that way, and it's going to go around the chain. So we're going to hook the top around the chain, and then that is going to sit in that hole there. There's a pin on there. It's going to go into the swinging arm. I wish they'd give you more about how it's supposed to go. There we go. So that's gone in like that now. So that chain needs to come up like that. Okay, so that's gone on there like that. So that's our chain. That's our chain runner. I can't think what the proper name of it is now, but it stops the chain from hitting the swinging arm. It's just like a tough plastic. So there we go. You can see that's in there like that now. Now we're going to move on to the back wheel, and we're going to put the back wheel tyre and brake together and then fit the swinging arm and the mud guard. So I'll get the parts off for that, and then we're going to move on to the frame. Here we have all the parts. Now this rear tyre, I've gone over with an 800 grit sanding sponge and just literally just wiped over the tread surface just to try and dull it down a bit to make it look a little bit used. Okay, so there we go. And also I've gone right over to the edges, so the rider of this bike is obviously a hero because he gets it right to the edge. Now these little lugs inside have got to be removed, so what we're going to do is grab hold of that, pull it. Oh, actually they just break off. That's brilliant. Yeah, it leaves a little bit behind, so we'll grab hold of that. Yeah, these actually pull off. We'll just throw those away, get rid of them. Now this is normally quite difficult to cut. However, in this case it's easy to cut. Blimey, they've done a lovely job. As I say, Magic Factory are a very new company, and I don't know if they're a very new company, but they're new to model making. They may have been in the moulding industry for years, for all I know, but they really are bloody good. I'm really enjoying their stuff. So I think the first thing we'll do is fit the tyre to the wheel. Now the wheel itself is painted and it's beautifully done, as you can see. The finish in there is excellent. They've even removed the seam line as well, so that's really good. I think actually what I'll do before I put the tyre, I'll put this valve in. Where's my tweezers? Watch this flick across the room now and I'll curse. Hold that on the top like that. So this is going to go this way round. Now where's the bloody hole gone? There it is. Well, it flicked out the tweezers, but it didn't fly across the room, so there's one bonus. That has got to go into... I'm going to do this off camera, guys, because if I do it on camera, it's all going to go wrong. As soon as I turn the camera off, it'll just go in, I know it. Because that's the way it works in the YouTube world. I can't even see the hole. I'm going to do this off camera, I'll be straight back. Wow, that was fun getting that in there. Little valve in there in that hole. So that's gone in. And then we've got the disc brake. So the disc brake is going on. In fact, no, I'll fit the tyre first because it may mean wrenching it all around a bit. So we'll make sure we get the tyre the right way round. So the disc brake is on this side and the tread has to point that way. So you can see the tread, see the direction of tread. We've got hair on there. Okay, so that's the way it needs to go. So we're going to push the tyre over the wheel just like so. Cool. Snug old fit, I can tell you that. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Right, there we go. Well, that's on. It's gone on both sides at the same time. So that's it. That's cool. One of the things I've noticed with this material, this tyre made of, everything sticks to it. Everything. So you end up with it, all sorts of bits and pieces on there. Like that there, I don't know what that is, but it's something, and it's just literally glued itself to the surface. I think it's a piece of tissue. So yeah, beware of that. But there we go, there's the tyre fitted. So, as I say, we've got the right way around, they've got the tread the right way around. Now the disc brake is going to go into these 4 holes in the wheel here. So that's just going to fit on like so. There we go. So that's gone on like that. And then we're going to bring it all together. So I didn't get a screw out, did I? A screw, there's 2 of those. So it does say A screw, doesn't it? Yeah, so A screw is that one there. Come here. Sorry guys, I should have done this before, but I forgot to get the screw out. And because the camera's on, it's being a complete ass. Right, there we go. Okay, so we've got an A screw there, so we're going to get our springing arm. I'm going to bring this over here. Now, we've got these chain tensioners. So that's going to go in that one, the one with the large hole. Okay, so that one is G6. If I can get it to go in. There we go, so that one's gone in there. Okay, and then this side I also haven't got that part there, J7 off either. So that's going to go in like that. Then that's going to sit in the wheel like that. So the chain sprocket is going in like that. Then this side of the swinging arm is going to push into those holes where that little mudguard piece is. Just like so. And the center here is going to... Oh, we've got to get the caliper around the disc. There we go, get that in like that. And just squeeze it all together. And then with that screw, put that screw through there. I don't know what it's actually screwing into. I guess it's screwing into the swinging arm on the other side. So just slacken that off and then the wheel's free to turn. And then this adjuster here is going to push over and cover that screw head, which is nice. That's something Tamiya need to do with their bike kits. They end up covered in bloody Phillips head screws everywhere, and it's really annoying. There we go. So that's that. Now I need to get this part here, J7. So I'm going to find the J sprue, get that part off, and then we'll fit it on. Okay, so we are ready. We've got our part here, J. what was it, J7? Yeah, so we've got a swinging arm that way round, and then this is going to go onto the top here. So we've got a tab there that's going to go into that slot. We've got 2 pins there that are going to go into those 2 holes. So that is basically going to come down onto those 2 pins. And that's basically clipped into place. So that's it. So that's our chain guard and mud guard all in one, sitting back there. So there's our swinging arm assembly complete. Right, step 11, frame right assembly. Here we go, we've got all the parts here off, cleaned up, touched up and everything. So let's have a look. We've got the frame half here, so that's all looking good. Now we've got this piece here, F7, is going into there. I don't know why. I don't know why they are doing that at all, but they are. So I'm going to use tweezers actually to position that. So that's going to go into here. It's got a pin on the back and a hole in the recess. So somehow, some way, that's going to go together. I don't quite know how you're supposed to get it in there or even why they've got it in there, because it's on the inside. It's blocking a hole. Oh, go on. There we go. It's gone in finally. That's inside. I don't get it. It's inside the frame. Maybe this is open here so you get exposed and air going in there or something. We'll see. Right, so that's gone in. And then we've got this inner part of the frame. I see now. Okay, this is in front of the headstock. That's why. Okay, so I'm trying to work out. That's going to go in there like that. Okay, so this is going in first. Once again, we're in this situation where I don't know what has to go in order. If you're watching Magic Factory, you need to tell us, 1, 2, 3, 4, because sometimes it's not very clear. So this is our main headstock bearing, or headstock tube. So that's just going in there like that. That's a fairly sloppy fit, but it doesn't matter, it's going to be sandwiched in there. And then we've got this piece on the bottom, which is our, is this the stand or is this the swinging arm pivot? It's going to be what mounts on that piece there. So this piece here is going in to that hole there. And it's D-shaped, so it can only go in one way. Yeah, and it's going in that way. So it's D-shaped. There we go. That's gone in like that. If you do have trouble fitting this one in, F1, if you look on it, there is a sprue gate on the side of that pin. Okay, so make sure you cut that off or it won't go into the hole or you'll split your frame open or something. But make sure you get that off. So that's gone like that. So that's all of that together. And then we're going to come along here and we're going to come to the rear part of the frame and we're going to fit our rear foot peg. So that's going to be that way round. It's just going to clip into there. There we go. And then it can fold up like that. Okay. Coming over the page, we're going to fit the engine. So we need 2 screw Ds and 1 screw E. So we have our guide here. So screw D I know is the tiny one. So I'll just get 2 of those out. Go away, Mr. Spring. So we want 2 of those. There's 1. There's 2. So that's 2 screw Ds. And then 1 screw E, which is the slightly longer one, which is there. I'm just going to check on here that it is the right one. Yes, it is. So we've got 2 Ds. There we go. And 1 E. Alright, so we'll put that away like that. And then we're going to take our frame. Note part assembly direction and position. Okay, so they're showing us here. I'm not sure exactly what they're showing us, but we will see. So we are putting the frame on like this. Okay, so this little bracket down here, it looks like that's going to go under the exhaust. So that's got to go that side, and then we'll bring the frame down. So what I'm going to do, where is this tube going? The tube's staying on the outside of the engine. Okay, so that tube can go up there. I really wish they show us where that tube goes. It looks like it stays above. So we're going to, I should have locked and loaded my screwdriver, shouldn't I? So we've got a screw D here. Oh, come on. Play ball, please. Right, so we've got a screw D. That bloody tube is going to keep popping out of the way. And what we're going to do is put that into there. Go on, go in the hole. Oh, go on. Urgh. So annoying when you've got a screwdriver that's not very magnetic. You've got a tube that won't stay where it's supposed to be. And you've got no location other than the hole. Right, we're going through the frame. We're going into the engine, I think. Yeah, we got there in the end. That took some doing, didn't it? Okay, and then we've got screw E. It's going into that hole there. Okay, to really look carefully at these instructions. I need to magnetize my screwdriver some more, don't I? That screw's going to go into the chassis, into the frame there. Trouble is the holes are really tight for the screw to go into. Okay, so that's lined up into there. So that screw is going to go into there, like so. And then that pivot's down in there. We're not putting a screw in there, but we are putting a screw D. So we're going to get a D screw. Am I going to curse this time? Probably. We'll get a D screw and we're going to put that into that exhaust and hold that in place. I can't even see where the hole's lined up. Okay, so that's that. That's our exhaust still held in place now. So we've got this tube here. I'm hoping that's in the right position. It's not pinched. So next we are going to adjust the angle of suspension when assembling the rear wheel. So note part assembly and direction. Let me just work this out in my head a minute and then I'll come back. Okay, this is one of those operations that is so much easier just to show you on video than try and write it in an instruction. So this has got to be lifted up and that's got to drop down into that hole. The swinging arm is going to go into its pivot in the side of the frame, and then the chain sprocket is going to go into that hole in the gearbox. Okay, so we're going to hold all this together, and you can see there, you can see here the actual main pivot is there. Okay, so that's the main pivot for the swinging arm. So we're going to hold that in there like that, and then I've got to get a screw. I should have done this beforehand. I should have picked it up first. I've got to get a D screw. In fact, I think I'll do the E screw first. So the E screw is on there, and we've got to get an E screw through that pivot. Okay, so again, I'm going to hold this swinging arm. In fact, I'm not going to worry about holding the swinging arm. I'm just going to concentrate on getting this E screw in. So that is going to go into there. Okay, so that screw is going into there to hold that rear suspension in. Right, now that needs to be able to pivot, so we're just going to slacken that a touch, and then I'm going to make sure this swinging arm is in its correct location. It's all just flopping about because there's nothing to hold it in place. Okay, now we've got this linkage here, so I need a D-screw. So the swinging arm is going to come down, and we're going to put that screw into there, like so. Alright, and then the same on this side, and that should hold everything together once we've got these two in. There we go, that's those in. If we hold that pivot, you can see now we've got a working rear suspension. Okay, and now we need a vinyl tube, 32mm long. So I'm going to grab my rule, which is here. Pull the vinyl tube back to 32mm, which is there. Hold that in place, and then cut the tube off. And this one is going to go from here it's going from this pipe. Oh, flipping over. Let's grab some tweezers. Held too far down in the tweezers. Don't squeeze it too hard because generally it marks it and flattens it if you do. And then the other end is going to go it's just saying up there. These are weird, these instructions. It's showing that pipe is just going there. Ah, okay, there's a little pin on the back of there, so it's going to go onto there like that. I would say 32mm is a little bit too short. I'd say make it 34, 35. Okay, so there we go. So that's our rear brake hose connected now. I can't see that staying on there. I think that's going to have to be remade, made slightly longer. We'll see. If we get another hose that's 32, we'll take that one off of there, and we'll, because I'm not sure we're going to have enough hose if I start scrapping bits off now. Okay, so that's that done. So we're all the way up to step 14 already. So coming over the page, we've now got the other side of the frame to put together. So I'm going to go on and do that, and then I'll come back and see you when we're ready to start on step 16, because this is looking interesting now. Okay, so all the parts off, ready. I've done this side of the frame, so that's all done. Got vinyl tubes, we've got red parts here. These are in the actual tray that sits in the top of the box. We've got this sprue here, which is very strange. It's Q. It's pre-painted white, but they've actually made a black sprue and then painted it white. Why would you do that? I've got nothing to touch it up with. I think what I'll do is just leave it and we'll see, because I think all this is going to be hidden away anyway. I've got nothing. I've got a white Chinograph pencil here that I use for PE. That might look a little bit better. There we go. There we are. So yeah, very strange. So starting off with this is the frame accessories. So this little part here, D36, is going to press onto that little raised tab there. So that's that one in. And then we've got D58, which is this one here. That's going to go over that little cruciform there, and then we've got this part here going this way round, and that is going to press. There's got 2 pins down in there, and there's 2 holes in the bottom of this, so they will line up and push down like, oops, be careful not to snap those pins off. Not sure if that's gone on or not. There we go. And then we've got Q1 here, and this has a 21mm length of tube, so that's the shortest one. So that's going to go onto there. Slightly more difficult to put on because of the matte paint. I must say they've got their pin size perfect. And then this is going to slot up under there, like that. Okay. And then we have D57, which is another little box. It's going to go on top of those 2 pins on there. If I can find the bloody holes. You see in the instructions that it should have done is told us to fit this on top of D58 first. I have to hold that like that and try and find the holes underneath. There we go, I think that's it. It's not falling off anyway. And then we've got D37, which is this little piece here. This looks like something to do with ABS or something. So that's got its location pins down. There's 2 pins facing backwards. So we're going to have the 39mm hose to the left, like so, and the 48mm hose to the right, like so. Okay, so that's that one. And then this is going to go down. Easier said than done. 2 pins on there, 2 holes in there. It's got to go down in there, and it's very difficult to see what's going on because it's all black. There we go. So that's that little bit there done. So this is going to be under the tank, so I don't think this is ever going to be seen. And then we've got this piece here, which is R5, and that's going that way up, holes facing up. And then we've got this piece here, which looks like headlight lenses. There's a hole in there. See, there's a D-shaped hole in the front of there. There's a D-shaped pin on there. So that's going that way up. That's going into the hole like that. Okay. So that's going to sit like that. And then we've got these pieces here. As I say, these pieces are in the they're sat in the tray. I've just noticed I've got some sprue gates on there. I'm just going to sand those off because they look horrible. There we are. Now that keeps popping out of there. These here, obviously they're just loose in a tray and they're not numbered, so I don't know which one's 7 and which one's 8. But if we look at the pictures, it shows us, and we can see that the holes, it looks like the holes are facing downwards unusually. I would have thought the holes should be facing upwards. We can always change them around. So I'm going to grab this with the tweezers. Yeah, I'm just going to check in the instructions because you can see here one side has a hole in that little tab, and the other side is blank, and it's showing that it's blank there, but I'm thinking, why would they put a hole in there with nothing for it to go into? And I'm wondering if further down the line there is something that's going to go into. Well, this is the tail, this isn't the front, this is the back end. I thought this was the front. Done it, and then that just literally clips down on then, this clear lens. It clips in very solidly. I can't actually pull it off again. I wanted to show you how it goes on, but basically it sort of slides on and just clips in. Okay, so you can see the lenses there are popped down around this here. So stupid me thinking this was the front end. So they've gone in, as I say, they're showing them with the holes facing down, and I've put them in with the holes facing down, but they could easily be removed and turned around if need be. I can't see anywhere where they're going to be picking up, but I don't understand why they would put holes in them if they're not doing anything. They're pointing downwards. So that's that. Now this is going to be fitted to the rear frame that we've just built off camera. So we've got a tab, we've got a tab there and a tab there. That's it, there's no other location. Okay, it's a bit weird. So that's that. So turning over the page, we are now going to fit this to our frame. So this is going to come across, and where are these tubes going to go? We'll just make sure they don't get trapped anywhere, I think. So that tube there was 16A, wasn't it? That one there. So we'll make sure that stays. I'm just going to put it together and see what happens. We should be able to fish the tubes out after. So that's just going to go into there like that. We've got a tab going into there. We've got pins going together here, which is a bit awkward because that's gone together in there. Right. And then the front of the frame here is going to press together on there. Make sure our swinging arm is lined up. There we go. I've got a big pin down in the bottom there. Right, so that's it, just press fitted together. So where are these tubes going? So we have, looking from the top, A is down here, and that has to come out below the frame tube. So A's down there, right, okay. And then B and C have to go down through here. You have to go down through there. Go on, go down through there. Joe, just go. Right. And then they are going to pop out behind the frame here. So, God, there's so much black on here, it's impossible to film. So I'm going to get in there with tweezers and grip those tubes. I can't see what I'm doing. I don't know how on earth you're supposed to see what I'm doing. Right, so there's one. Okay, so that's the, I think that's the longest one. And there's going to be another one here as well. There's another one. Okay, so they're coming out there. And they're just showing them as hanging out. Okay. And then 16A is up here. And that's also hanging out. Alright, so we'll have to fish for those and find them when we need them. So 16C is the longest one. Okay, so A is the shortest and C is the longest. So they're showing them sticking out there, but they're not going to stay there. So there we are. Now we've got to start putting some screws on here. So we need our great big B screw. That's the big fat fella. And another A screw. And then we've got the F screw, which is Which one's the F screw? Must be that one. Get off, spring, go away. F screw is that one. Yeah, we can see that on our guide. So we've got B, A and F. Okay. So we've got the F screw is the big fat one for the swinging arm. Just back it off and then make sure everything works. There we go, we got our suspension there. Cool. And then we've got an A screw going through the bottom to support the engine. And that one can be tightened up. It's quite tight going in as well. Need to make sure it's all the way in. There we go. It's quite tight, but just keep going and it goes in. Okay, so that's all gone together beautifully. And then finally we've got an F screw here, which is going through the frame there. Oh, I've just snapped that pin off. Well done, Nigel. I mean, these screws are tight. There we go. So that's gone in like that. Now that pin, what I will do with that is just carefully not touch it again, and hopefully it doesn't have too important a job to do. If it does, what we'll do is we'll take it off, drill it out, and I'll put a pin in there. I'll show you how I do that if I do it. Right, so we've got hoses all disappeared again. That's cool. These foot pegs are going to be a pain in the ass because they just don't stay up. There we go. Right, now we've got to do this assembly here. So we've also got some little stoppers to go over the screw holes there and there. Okay, so I'm going to get those off and I'll be back. Right, so I've done a little bit of work off camera. I've put those screws in. I've also put a couple of screws in this side as well. Now, I've got all the parts off ready to do this step 18. So this looks like it's the rear brake mechanism. So we've basically got this piece here, which is G30, like that. This piece here, which is G29, and the way that it's been drawn, it doesn't look like it, but it's got the brake pedal on it. So that is basically going to clip on. There's two small pins on there, and there's two small holes. So that is basically going to go into there, like so. Come on, where's the holes? Where's the pins? There we are. So that's going on like that. Now it doesn't feel like a very solid fit, but it should be good enough to keep it there because it's going to be sandwiched up against the frame. And then this whole lot is going to go onto here like so. Okay, and then perhaps I should have put this on first, but we have the foot peg. It's going to go between those two parts. I should have done this first. So I'll see if I can take that off. I can't. There we go. That's really annoying because there's nothing to keep it up. Sorry, I'm wrong. You just make it stay up. Okay, so they can stay up. They just keep falling down on their own. So that will go up, or you can have it down like that. Now then, those pipes, the pipe A, which is here, that one has to go, got to try and get it on the right angle, which on the camera is really difficult. I also don't want to put a twist in it, so I need to come in from this side. And get that pipe onto there. I'll tell you what, guys, I'm going to call that, no I'm not, I'm going to put these little plugs in and then we'll call it a day, and I'll do that off camera. You don't want to watch me putting those in, do you? So these are like nut covers, okay, and they're to cover the screws. As I say, that's something Tamiya need to take note of, because on the Tamiya models I've seen, they've got screws exposed. They look terrible, and that's all falling apart. That rear brake pedal, that's going to have to be glued. There's no way that's going to stay on there. That's gone in on an angle which I'm not happy about. Let's find a piece of wood just to, there we go. So get yourself a wooden dowel or something to push them in, then you won't damage the paint on them. Then we'll drop this one in on the other side, just like so. There we go, and then we've got these little ones here. These are number G32. Probably best to lay it on the side of the frame the right way up. If I can get the bloody thing to go down the right way up. Come on. And then just slide it across with your finger, and then with the wood push it in. I'm using wood so it doesn't scratch the paint. And we've got another one going in. No, we don't. We have one there, one there. Okay, and then we're going to turn this over. Oops, daisy, I'm going to break this, I know I am. And then we've got these little ones here. So I'm going to do this off camera, and I will see you soon for part 4. In the meantime, I'm going to have to get this off somehow. Because I can't. There we go, it's coming. If I can just get one to come out and then twist the other one out. There we go. That's going to have to be glued on there. There's no way that's going to stay on there. So we'll have to do that, and then I'll connect those pipes up. And I will see you soon for part 4. Thank you for watching. I'm not sure what's coming next. I guess we're going to be starting on the forks soon, aren't we? No, we're going to do the radiator and everything, and then we're going to start on the front wheel and the forks after that. Right, I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.